Every draft cycle, we focus on who will go number one, who will be instant impact at the next level, and who the future superstars will be coming from that draft class. When we do that, we really only end up focusing on 10 to 15 players every single season and don't look at the rest of the new players entering into the league. I want to flip that on its head and look at the players who heard their names get called at the very end of the draft and what they could accomplish with their backs against the wall. Today, we're going to look at the careers of every last pick in the NBA draft since the turn of the century. So starting us off in the 2000 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks selected Pete Michael with the 58th and final pick. Michael was a 6'5" wing who played 2 years of JUCO at Indian Hills and 2 years at Cincinnati before getting drafted. Dallas would ship him off to New York shortly after the draft, where he would suit up during training camp and some preseason work, but would be waived. He would get another shot in 2002 with the Rockets, but did not make a regular season appearance there either. He would go overseas in 2003 and have a pretty good career across multiple leagues until the 2017 season. So Michael never made the league, but still played pro basketball deep into his 30s. That is a pretty good career if you asked me. In the 2001 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs selected Oregon wing Brian Bracey with the 58th pick. Bracey was a 6'7", 18 point per game guy his senior year, but never made it beyond his first training camp in the NBA before being released, his only shot in the league. He immediately went overseas, where he was a 9 point per game guy over his 4 overseas seasons. A much shorter career for Brian Bracey. In the 2002 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings selected 6'9" Central Connecticut State University center Corsley Edwards with the 58th pick. Edwards is the first player to actually make an appearance in the NBA from this list, playing 10 games for the New Orleans Hornets in the 2004-2005 season. After some research, aka Wikipedia because I literally couldn't find it anywhere else, it looks like Edwards was drafted to the CBA and played there for 2 years for the future G League team, the Sioux Falls Skyforce. He eventually made his NBA debut in December of 2004, and his career ended in January of 2005. He went on to play overseas for a bit and actually played a stint in the Big Three recently, so that's pretty cool. In the 2003 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons selected 7-foot Greek center Andreas Glinadowski with pick number 58, who would wait a few years before making his NBA debut. He played 2 years for AEK Athens before making his NBA debut for the Seattle Supersonics in the 2006-2007 season. He played 13 games, starting 4, but didn't stick beyond that season. He would return overseas until the 2018-19 season, playing until he was 37. He did play in the 2008 Olympics and for some other Greek national teams, so he definitely was a solid player overseas and for his country. In the 2004 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers selected Georgia guard Rashad White with the 60th pick, technically the 59th pick because of the Timberwolves forfeiting their first round pick. Anyways, Wright was a 14-3 guy in his senior year, which was enough for him to squeeze into the draft. He made the Pacers training camp roster and played in 2 summer leagues. He played on and off overseas for a decade afterwards. I promise some of these guys moving forward are going to stick in the league. Speaking of, in the 2005 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons used the 60th pick to select Alex Acker from Pepperdine. As a true rookie, Acker appeared in 5 games for Detroit, averaging 7 minutes in those contests. However, after the season, he went overseas for 2 seasons, getting legit minutes and working his way back to Detroit. Acker would play 7 more games for Detroit before being traded to the Clippers, where in 18 games he got somewhat legit minutes. He would head back overseas after that season, ending his NBA career. Acker does, however, get to say that he was the first 2-year pro on this list. In the 2006 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons drafted at number 60 again, drafting Iowa State's Will Blalock. Blalock would play just 18 games in year 1 in the league, scoring 25 more points than I will in the league and likely you too. After the season, he went overseas on and off, like all the players we've mentioned previously. So as you can tell, the Zeros decade didn't really give us a lot of NBA players at pick 60, and that's going to hold true for the rest of the decade, so we're going to speed through this back half. If you enjoy learning about this very random NBA history, don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help out the channel a ton. So in the 2007 draft, the Dallas Mavericks selected Serbian center Milovan Rakovic with pick number 60. His rights were traded a few times, and he had a decently long overseas career. In the 2008 draft, the Boston Celtics took Turkish center Sime Erden, who finished up his contract overseas for 2 years before being a solid backup big for 2 seasons for Boston and Cleveland, and like a pretty legit backup big. He went back overseas after 2 seasons and was a staple on the Turkish national team and is considered one of the better players in their history. In the 2009 NBA draft, the Miami Heat selected Memphis wing Robert Dozier with the final pick. Dozier bounced around some different leagues overseas as a very dominant scorer, and honestly, I'm surprised he never got another NBA look. To open up the 2010s decade, in the 2010 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns selected Miami forward Dwayne Collins with the 60th pick, a pick they got when they traded Shaq to Cleveland. I could not find anywhere that Collins played after college besides a super short stint in Italy and some time in the Summer League. Collins instead entered into the education field and became a superintendent in New Jersey, which is very cool to see. Sadly, however, he passed away from a heart attack in 2025 at just 37. Rest in peace, Dwayne. In the 2011 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings selected Washington guard Isaiah Thomas with pick number 60. Thomas, a 5'9" point guard, has probably one of the most unique NBA careers ever, and his mention as the last pick only adds to that. Now, most casual fans or fans that have been watching for at least the last decade or so know him from his time as the franchise guy in Boston, but that leaves out so much of his career. To start, there isn't many late second round picks that get 25 minutes a night and start 37 games as a rookie. Thomas was given that opportunity as the last pick and took advantage of those opportunities and proved he could be a legit NBA starting guard, even grinding to become a 20 point per game guy in his last season for the Kings. He was then traded to the Suns, who then traded him to Boston, where he became the MVP candidate that we all loved before they shipped him off in the Kyrie trade. Now, I can't believe that this is already almost a decade ago, and this is still probably the dirtiest I've ever seen a franchise do their franchise superstar. The city loved Isaiah Thomas loved that city, and they shipped him off for Kyrie Irving, and it just never really worked out for either side. After that trade, IT was never really the same. He was on that Cavs squad, but he was bounced from there to the Lakers, and then the next year had a short stint with the Nuggets. Then he played half a season for Washington, played 3 games for New Orleans the next year, and then played 22 games for the Lakers, Mavs, and Hornets, all in the 2021-22 season. Phoenix signed him again in 2023, where he played 6 games, and as of now, that is where his career has ended. IT is no doubt the best player we will talk about today, and I could go into a ton of depth into Isaiah Thomas's career, as like I said, I think it is super interesting, probably the most interesting career in NBA history, and it is an amazing story with ups and downs. But because we have so many more to go through, we will stop here. I'm sure there are some amazingly in-depth videos talking about his career, and I might make one of those one day because of how wild the story is. But like I said, we have 15 more players to talk about, so we're going to move on. In the 2012 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers used the 60th pick on Gonzaga big man Robert Sacre. Sacre was a very okay backup big for the Lakers in the last few Kobe years. I'm not going to lie, I thought his NBA career was much longer than just 4 years, but maybe it was because he was already 26 in that last season. I just remember him being in the league for as long as I could remember watching basketball, but this was also the era when I first started watching. After that surprisingly short NBA stint, Robert spent 3 years playing in the Japanese B League, and this is surprisingly one of the better careers on this list. In the 2013 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies selected Giannis Tima, a Latvian wing. He is one of only 9 draft picks from this year to not make an NBA appearance. He instead spent the 2010s playing overseas before coming to the G League in the 2021-22 season. After gaining some fame in the Summer League for the Magic that year, you may remember him popping up as the 28-year-old rookie. He had some great games in that Summer League. Sadly, he did not catch on to the team and would go back overseas, where he sadly passed away in Moscow in 2024 due to a very sad reason, which I cannot mention due to YouTube guidelines. A very, very sad death, and may honest rest in peace. In the 2014 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs selected Baylor power forward Corey Jefferson. They would then trade him to the Nets for cash, which is where he would play 50 games his rookie year before being let go. He would catch on to the Suns for a few 10 days in the next season, playing 8 games. He then went overseas for 4 seasons, including a 2016-2017 campaign where he averaged 30 points a game in 11 games. Honestly, his rookie year didn't look bad, so I am surprised he never got another true look in the NBA, but he was able to find some success overseas. In the 2015 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers drafted Luka Mitrovic with the 60th pick. He never came stateside besides one summer league, but is still active today overseas as he played last year for CSKA Moscow. It is a very respectable career in some of the best leagues in Europe. Over here stateside, his rights are currently with the New York Knicks after being recently traded in the extremely famous Kobe Sanders trade, of course. In the 2016 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz selected Cal guard Tyrone Wallace with the 60th pick. Wallace was never signed by Utah, and the Clippers scooped him up. He actually had a pretty solid rookie year, but that was the best that got in the NBA for him. He also played for the Hawks and the Pelicans while in the league, but eventually made his way overseas where he played 3 seasons. According to his Instagram, he is now a dog breeder, I think. Checking Instagram and LinkedIn is literally the farthest I'll go to see what these guys are up to post basketball. After that, it feels like I'm digging too much. So like I said, if I can't find it on IG or LinkedIn, I don't really know. In the 2017 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks selected French forward Alpha Kaba. He has not made an NBA appearance, however his rights were sent to Houston in the Dillon Brooks trade before his rights were sent back to Atlanta. He's played in multiple summer leagues, so technically he has put on an NBA jersey. He is still actively playing as of the end of the 2025-26 season overseas. Alpha Kaba is probably one of the coolest names I've ever heard. In the 2018 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers selected Dayton Wayne Kostas Antetokounmpo with the last pick. The younger brother of Giannis is actually the first champion on this list, as he was a member of the Bubble Lakers squad in his last year in the league. I am surprised he's not in the league because I thought Kostas had legit potential coming out of Dayton, so it's surprising he's not in the league anymore, especially considering some of the other Antetokounmpos still are. In the 2019 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings selected Vanya Marinkovic with the final pick. He is one of 2 players from that draft class to not make an NBA appearance. His rights are now owned by the Clippers if they've been thrown in multiple complex trades, as some of these rights do from time to time. He is still actively playing in the EuroLeague for KK Partizan, the club he's played for almost his whole career. In the EuroLeague, that is the top league overseas, so a very solid career for him thus far. In the 2020 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Sam Merrill with the 60th pick. Merrill is a champ in his rookie year with the Bucks and just had a breakout season in his 6th year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's also under contract through the 2028-29 season, so it's safe to say he will be in the league for a while and will end up with one of the best careers of last picks. At 30 though, he has probably peaked, but a 12-point per game peak is still extreme value from the literal last pick. In the 2021 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers selected Greek wing Kalitasis. He was eventually traded to the Bucks in the preseason for Isaiah Todd. He would play 9 games before being waived, then was picked up by OKC where he played 4 games. He is still actively playing overseas. And since we're just 5 years removed from his draft, most of these players are still active in some league. In the 2022 NBA draft, due to 2 teams forfeiting their second rounders, the 58th pick by the Pacers was the last pick, which was used to take French guard Hugo Beason. His rights were traded to Milwaukee and eventually New York through the Chris Middleton trade, and he's yet to make an NBA debut. He is currently enjoying a very solid career in the Turkish league. In the 2023 NBA draft, again due to 2 forfeited picks, Milwaukee picked last with pick number 58 and took Chris Livingston, who has been consistently rostered since the draft, but has only appeared in 45 career games for the Bucks and the Cavs. He is currently a free agent as of recording, meaning his career may go overseas if the Cavs do not choose to re-sign him. In the 2024 NBA draft, number 58 was the last pick for the 3rd year in a row, and the Dallas Mavericks used it to select German center Ariel Hochporti, who was traded to the New York Knicks, where he has played his whole career. He is officially now an NBA champ after the season, and I personally think he is one of the more underrated young big men in the league, and if he gets a real shot, he could be something for the Knicks. I'm very excited for his future. Genuinely, I've seen him play, and I think that there is some talent there. In the 2025 NBA draft, with the 59th and final pick, the Houston Rockets selected Jemai Mashak from Tennessee. He appeared in 31 games in his rookie season for the Grizzlies after being a part of the KD trade. He looks to potentially be a piece for the Memphis Grizzlies moving forward. After just 1 year, it's hard to tell, but there again is some legit talent there. And finally, in the 2026 NBA draft just a few days ago, the Washington Wizards used the 60th and final pick on Malik Lewis, a 20-year-old wing who has played the last 2 years in the NBL for Southeast Melbourne. We will see what the future holds for Lewis, as the pick eventually ended up at the rebuilding Milwaukee Bucks, who may have room for him and he may get a solid shot to play as a rookie. So as we've seen, the last pick is usually nothing. However, there have been a handful of solid NBA players to come from the last pick, including a franchise player and MVP candidate in Isaiah Thomas. There's also a lot of young guys who still are getting opportunities today and could potentially add to the talent that comes from pick number 60. One trend I have noticed, especially since 2020, has been the last pick actually getting legit chances every year in recent drafts. Now, yes, there is 100% some recency bias there. However, since 2020, 4 of these 6 number 60 or last picks are currently in the league, and 5 of the 6 have played NBA minutes, this assuming Lewis does get a shot with the Bucks. It is an interesting trend to see, since even 20 years ago, this pick was essentially a throwaway. Now these players are getting very legit chances and making careers for themselves even with that last pick. So what do you think of this? Is there a new trend in the NBA where late seconds are actually given a shot? Or is this just a couple of good picks in a row and recency bias keeping these players around? Let me know down below, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.